Everybody, this is Ricky's Rockin' Reviews, and today I have a good one because we're looking at Sinister Mix by Bowyer. Now check out that awesome cover art. Now that's what initially attracted me to this. This is my first foray into extreme horror. This is a short story collection. There's 14 stories here. Very eclectic collection and following a diverse cast of characters. Evil people and some people who are just dealing with just the most effed up things you can imagine. Some of this stuff is caused by supernatural forces, but the beauty in this collection is that it's structured so that you never know what you're going to get next. Everything is very fast paced. There's 200 pages in here and it is incredibly bleak. I would say that if you like happy endings and if you want to root for some characters in a twisted way, you can root for them, but things are never going to turn out with a pretty bow on them, but that's part of the fun. Now, after reading this, I feel kind of unclean, and that's kind of a good thing because that is kind of what you're getting. That's what you're signing up for when you read this, just so you know ahead of time. But it's all in good, twisted fun. There's some strange situations that are brought up here, and it makes you think, what would you do? And oh my gosh, could I even bear to stay conscious during some of these things that happen in this book? I know I couldn't make it very far if I was some of the characters in here. But that kind of brings me to one of the concepts that Bowyer presents in almost every story, which is that of alcoholism. So we have some stories where alcohol can be a source of the conflict and the reason why some of these characters are in these situations. But we also have some people that have gone through some pretty messed up things, and alcohol is kind of a remedy for that. So there's kind of like a tug of war between these two ideas throughout these 14 stories. And I feel like besides all of the shock factor, if you take your time and kind of sit with these stories, even with some of the most messed up people, you can try to empathize with them. It's a good exercise in putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Like I said, this is extreme horror, so there's an incredible amount of violence and some shockingly gross stuff. But what I really appreciated from the author here was that it was never gratuitous. It wasn't too much. It was, he knows just when to show you things and when to describe things, and it just made me feel icky in just the right amount of ways. And one of the things I will say is that I was really happy that we have some really like stark white pages here, so that whenever it's hard for you to read some of the stuff, you can just concentrate on the negative space on the pages, and that stark white paper kind of like cleanses your eyeballs, which I feel is a compliment to Bowyer. I hope he takes it that way. But I also learned that he has several other stories, and I can't wait to read them. Now, I'm going to look at the table of contents here, and I'm just going to mention some of my favorite stories. I enjoyed every single one of them, and I was left wanting more. This is a really quick read. If you sit down from cover to cover, it'll take you maybe a few hours at most. But I just wanted more, and luckily he has more, so I'm definitely going to be checking them out. But just to kind of tell you what kind of stories we have here, just by the titles alone, you can try to infer some of the stuff that might happen. We have a story called Family Portrait, which was a really good opening and really unsettling, especially with the stuff that happens in there. I wasn't exactly sure what to expect in the other stories, and I really appreciated the sequence of the stories here because I was just caught off guard. I didn't know if we were going to go supernatural. I didn't know if we were going to go to like savage people and depravity. It was really cool. I really identified with this story here called Maternal Flame. I'll just say when I was young, I was really into dinosaurs and I always wanted to be a paleontologist. So in this story, we have a kid who was just like that. And oh man, that ending. Whoo! Okay. We also have Yersinia Z, which has to do with a like a post-apocalyptic world in which there's a virus that kills almost everyone extremely quickly. There isn't even a response, from the people in charge. It's just like people are dead, and the only people that are left alive are alcoholics. So what I was mentioning earlier about alcoholism and stuff is really at the forefront there. We also have a story called Degrees of Separation, which I believe is a story about family love, I would say. We have The Box. I feel like every good writer always has a mystery box type of story. And this one is, and it's no different. We have a really cool story involving a box. Home Invasion. Home Invasion is one of these stories where I was like, oh, we're actually going to get a little bit of some light at the end of the tunnel. And I just really like where it goes. I really like that one. And then I think my favorite story here is Deliverance. And I think it's one of the longer stories here. It's the second to last one. And it was just pitch perfect. I love how after all of the quick, like, beat you over the head type of evilness throughout these stories, and just the quick way that evil happens and violence happens. I love that story. Deliverance kind of takes its time to breathe, and it's I'll only describe it as a road trip story, and you have to kind of see what happens there. Man, what an ending. And Hollywood ending as well kind of makes you kind of think about what our celebrities are up to. All these crazy people in Hollywood. Anyways, I've rambled on enough. I really enjoyed this collection, and I feel like if you have any inkling into wanting to read extreme horror, or if you're a really big fan of extreme horror and you haven't heard of Brian Bowyer before, I feel like this is a really good place to start. I know it was great for me, and I can't wait to read more of his stuff. So also, guys, check him out on Instagram. He has a really cool page, and I think he's on Facebook as well. Really cool author. I really hope you guys get a copy and read this fabulous collection. Now, I'll catch you guys later. Please like and subscribe, and tell all your friends, and comment. I'm sure we can have a good conversation about all of our favorite horror stories and stuff like that. So thanks, guys. Have a good one.